bright lights of Hollywood aren't for everybody. Here are the top 10 celebrities who disappeared from Hollywood to live a normal life. Jennifer Stone is known for her role as the fashion icon Harper Finkel on Wizards of Waverly Place. She was my hero growing up, but now she's a hero for very different reasons. She ended up going back to school to get her nursing degree and worked as a nurse on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. Stone earned her Associate of Science in Nursing degree from Glendale Community College, but that's not all. She also attended Azusa Pacific University and earned her Bachelor of Science in Nursing. A large reason as to why the young actress had left Hollywood was likely due to the fact that she was diagnosed with latent autoimmune diabetes in adults, or LADA, in 2013. She ended up studying what she did in school so she could better understand her disease. During the pandemic, the actress and nurse would regularly share updates on her social media about what working in a hospital mid-pandemic is like. More recently, Stone has stepped back into the spotlight with the podcast created by her and former Wizards co-star David DeLuise. It's called Wizards of Waverly Pod, and they are just rewatching the show and bringing on guests and telling fun stories about what it was like filming, because for anyone who watched, some of those episodes had some truly odd costumes and major stars grace the screen. It's unclear if Stone will be in the reboot of Wizards that's happening, but hopefully I would love to see more Harper Finkel fashion. The half of 2.5 Men, Angus T. Jones, has disappeared from Hollywood life and went out with a bang. You know the phrase, "don't bite the hand that feeds you"? He did exactly that before dropping out of Hollywood. Jones starred as young Jake Harper in the popular sitcom 2.5 Men. Popular isn't even a strong enough word. The show was a massive hit, with the stars all making hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode. It's reported that Jones was making around $200,000 to $300,000 per episode. But it seems the young actor did not agree with everything he was being paid to do and what messages the show was putting out. In 2012, Jones was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. He had filmed a YouTube video in which he begged people to stop watching the show. The reason he made the video was because he had joined a Christian church. The video includes quotes like, "I'm on 2.5 Men and I don't want to be on it. Please stop watching it and filling your head with filth," and "I don't want to be contributing to Satan's plan. You cannot be a true God-fearing person and be on a television show like that." This appeared to not be taken very well by certain parties, because the actor later spoke to TMZ and essentially took back a lot of his words, saying, "While I cannot address everything that has been said or right every misstatement or misunderstanding, there is one thing I want to make clear. Without qualification, I am grateful to and have the highest regard and respect for all of the wonderful people on 2.5 Men." He has returned to Hollywood a couple times over the years, but never in any major roles. After leaving the show, he spent some time at the University of Colorado. Cody Simpson recently shocked the internet when we found out he went from teenage musical heartthrob to a competitive swimmer competing for a spot in the upcoming Olympics. Remember that little kid that sang like Pretty Brown Eyes or La Da Dee? Yeah, he was almost an Olympic athlete. I do hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Simpson did not qualify for the Olympics this year, but still made an impressive effort. Training to possibly be in the Olympics is definitely not as normal life as some of the other people on this list, but until now, Cody Simpson had stayed relatively out of the spotlight, and this career trajectory is just so iconic I had to include him on the list. Hayden Christensen went from being a lightsaber-wielding Anakin Skywalker to a dedicated farmer. What a switch, but what an iconic switch. Hayden did more than Star Wars, of course, but those are kind of his biggest movies. Anakin is the role he is known for to this day. In 2008, 3 years after the release of the final movie in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, Hayden did an interview with the Toronto Star where he dropped that he had a new hobby, learning about agriculture. He seemed really interested in it, saying, "It's a hobby, but I want to have the appearance of being a proper farmer. I'm trying to figure it out. It's all new to me, but I would eventually like it to be a fully operational farm with livestock and different crops." His dream was realized when he bought a farm and fixed up the farm, making it fully functional. He did everything on the property that he was able to, got some of the farming heavy machinery, and became a proper farmer. His farm had an apple orchard, vegetable gardens, and he was, in 2008, working towards having a field of lavender. Of course, Hayden has returned to play Anakin in recent years, but that doesn't make him any less of a farmer. This truly has to be one of the most most iconic career changes ever made in Hollywood. American actress Bridget Fonda was part of some amazing films, an influential Hollywood family, and yet she disappeared from Hollywood seemingly without a trace in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, the reason for her departure is not a happy one. She was involved in a car accident on a rainy highway, her car lost control of itself. Luckily, though the crash was severe, she walked away with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash isn't the only reason she left Hollywood though, she also wanted to retire so she could start a family, which is a much happier reason. Fonda married Danny Elfman in 2003, and the pair have been together ever since. Fonda was known for films like The Godfather 3 and Single White Female, both popular and loved films by fans. She seems like she had all the tools and connections and talent to make it big, so why hasn't she returned? Some paparazzi caught up with the star one day while she was out and asked her whether she wants to return to the bright lights of Hollywood. The former actress's answer was short and sweet: "It's too nice being a civilian." Another former actress that seems to enjoy the civilian lifestyle is Phoebe Cates. Cates was a big star in the early 80s. She was in movies like Gremlins and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. In 1989 though, she settled down and married Kevin Kline. Kline was also an actor, and they went on to have 2 kids. Cates decided it would be in the best interest of her family if she were to put her career on hold, focus on raising her kids, and then maybe coming back in the future. But her time off resulted in her deciding not to return to the big screen, and it actually led to an interesting new business venture for the former actress. In 2005, she opened Blue Tree in New York City. It's a boutique selling things like clothing, jewelry, and a whole lot more. About opening the store, Kate said her dream was to have it be like a general store, but according to her. She wanted surprises at every turn in the store and for the items inside to be carefully chosen, but also there's no rules as to what can be brought in. The boutique is still actually open and has an active website if you are looking to do some shopping. Teddy Dunn is an actor turned lawyer. Dunn's acting career featured TV shows like Veronica Mars, in which he played Duncan Kane, as well as some guest appearances on Gilmore Girls and Grey's Anatomy, so some pretty big shows on his resume, but Hollywood was not where he stayed. Instead, Dunn ended up working in law. His impressive law career features past jobs working as a law clerk to New Jersey Federal District Judge William J. Martini, as well as being a litigation associate, the office of the Attorney General of Massachusetts, and a legal intern for the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. Pretty different than the set of Gilmore Girls, I would imagine. Currently, Dunn is working as an assistant United States attorney at the District of Columbia United States Attorney's Office. If they ever do a remake of Legally Blonde, I want Teddy as Elwood and just nobody says anything. Other than like the stresses that must come with being a legal professional, Dunn lives a quiet life. He was married in 2017, had a son in 2019. Beloved 80s star Rick Moranis immortalized himself in people's minds with hits like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Ghostbusters and Little Shop of Horrors, something for every kind of person to watch. He was funny and really great at what he did. He was truly a rising star. Unfortunately, there were problems in his personal life that caused the actor to leave Hollywood for a more simple life. Rick's wife, Anne, unfortunately passed away, and the pair had 2 kids together. In their best interests, Rick stepped away from Hollywood to raise them. Rick further explained his decision years later in 2015, speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, saying, "I took a break, which turned into a longer break. Stuff happens to people all the time, and people make adjustments, career changes, move to another city. Really, that's all I did." Despite not being in front of the camera, that doesn't mean Rick gave up performing altogether. He took on a few voice roles, my favorite being one of the moose from Disney's Brother Bear. Yeah, that was him. About his departure from Hollywood, Rick says, "I have absolutely no regrets. My life is wonderful." Brenda Song and Macaulay Culkin are now out of the limelight and married with kids, but they were once both major child stars. Culkin starring in, of course, Home Alone and its sequel as Kevin McAllister, and Brenda Song playing London Tipton in the Disney show Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Brenda has stayed more in the spotlight than Culkin, taking roles in various films, TV shows, and animated entertainment. Culkin has still remained with a toe in the Hollywood spotlight. I mean, he's the kid from Home Alone. The average person probably watches that movie at least once a year. He has to capitalize on that kind of success. He has done some advertisements reprising his role as Kevin, but currently he's the CEO of Bunny Ears, a website and podcast based in satire. And of course, he's parenting his 2 kids. One notable role he very recently took on was an American Horror Story double feature. Though he is not in Hollywood much anymore, his contributions were great, so it was only fitting that he would get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame given to him in December of last year. Bridget Mendler is another former Disney star, and would you believe me if I told you that that is the least impressive thing on that girl's resume? Through Disney, she was able to record some incredible pop songs, still on my playlists, but even that pales in comparison to where she is now. Mendler started her post-secondary career with the University of Southern California, studying a degree in anthropology, among other things. She dropped out of USC in 2016. The next year in 2017, she was announced to be one of MIT's Media Lab Directors Fellows. In 2018, she announced that she had started a graduate program at MIT. The program was designed to focus on improving social medias. In 2019, Mendler was enrolled in some classes at Harvard Law, eventually earning a JD. What, like it's hard? In 2020, she completed a Master's of Science in Media Arts and Sciences at MIT, later working towards her PhD, and all of this has culminated in her now co-founding Northwood Space, a satellite data startup. Her disappearance from Hollywood has certainly resulted in an incredible life story, and you know what? If she comes back, I would love to see a documentary or something about her life. But what do you think about all this? Let us know in the comments section. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!